imagine all these mandatory things. How was your feeling the time that they said you cannot see your family for Christmas? Just a little bit change it in a way that they said wear hijab, mandatory hijab, for not only 2 years, it's more than 43 years. And if you don't do it, they're gonna kill you.
Hi, Zara. How are you doing?
Hi, Patricia. It's difficult to be good,
Yes.
but we are here today, and hopefully everything goes well.
Yes. I'm so happy that you agreed to come on the Break Time with Patty show to have this discussion. But first of all, I would like to introduce you to our viewer right now. Number one, Zara is an e-learning specialist, business analyst, and a project manager. She's passionate about solving business problems, converting data into useful information that drives business decisions. She has a keen interest in the field of digital marketing, web application programming, and databases. She has a master's degree in information science. Number two, Zara is also a library volunteer and a talented photographer on her spare time. Finally, she is a woman on a mission. Her passion is helping give the voiceless a voice. Particularly, she wants to amplify the voices of the women of Iran. Let's get started. Zara, do you mind if we travel back in time to find out a little bit more about you when you were a little girl and a teenager? What was it like to be in her shoes?
That's a really challenging question for me because I had a really hard time as a teenager, I can say, in Iran. One of the biggest challenges was like all, teenagers, discussion with parents and this and stuff, which is really normal. But at the same time, we had to really convince our parents about something that we like, and they might be even agree, but they couldn't allow us because they love us. And they know the society doesn't allow that we freely do whatever we want to do. This was really challenging. As a teenager, what do you want? You want hiking, you want skating, you want to start learning ski, or even do some travels with your friends, with parents, no problem. But is it possible really in Iran at that time, in my age, in my generation, was really hard to get. It was kind of dream. Then we start to access to internet, satellite, movies. Then we saw, wow, people are happy, they can do it the same age as me, and their schools are mixed. But we are all girls all the time. And if I'm enjoying talking with another boy in my age, they call it, oh, you have a boyfriend. And they stop me by going out with my friends and so on because they think I'm going to date someone, and then by the time you see, it's like even the simple things getting harder. And what is going to happen? You're going to be angry. You're going to not be satisfied of your society. And at the end, your country, then immigration, it will be one of your dreams and your wish list. Back to you.
Yes. Wow. Actually, I could even relate to that because I'm from a Haitian background, and certain things. It was not as extreme as your situation, but yes, sometimes I had this urge of doing things that everybody else that was my age could do, but I was not allowed to do because of appearances or because it was against their beliefs. Like I could never have sleepovers. All my friends could go over at their friend's house and sleep over there. Me, it was like out of the question. It's not going to happen. It doesn't get done. So I can somehow relate with that.
Yeah, particularly if they have a brother. The brother,
even if you didn't have a brother, just the fact that there was a father in the house, you know, that disturbed them. They did not trust that household.
I understand. I can totally relate with that too.
But yes, even worse if they have brothers, forget it. That's just, you can't even go there during the daytime. So at this point, at what point did you come to Canada then? What age?
That was the time when I was 14 years old, that was my biggest, like let's say, wish to move from Iran. Mm-hmm. At the beginning was US my dream, you know, but when I passed the age, and I thought even I can do it with my family, because a lot of our friends, you know, and some family members, they moved at that time, which was like 1990 and so on. We had a huge wave of immigration from Iran to other countries. I thought we are going to be one of them soon too, because they were friends and so on, and you are always following your friends. And I thought this year or next year, we're going to be there. And also funny thing, since I moved to Canada in 2014, I realized what does it mean, what I heard during the summer when those people came back to Iran, and they said, Zara, we have a guest room for you. Your room is ready. I'm here and I rented place. I have a guest room too, but it doesn't mean that, you know, like it's easy to come and we really created something special for Zara. But to me at that time, it was like, oh my God, they make something for me special. Then it's really like encouraged me more to go and take advantage of those opportunities and so on. But that was just a dream.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you and I, we met at a Toastmasters club, actually. And wasn't it a contest? We met at a contest, right? Yeah. It's true.
And I participated in the French version, I guess.
Pardon?
I participated in the French version.
Oh yes, that's where I met you. I was participating in the English one. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm really happy I met you, and you meet amazing people. I met you.
the same here.
Yeah. Same. Okay, so now that you found your voice, Zara, and you're not afraid to use it, you want to help the helpless, and anyone who watches the news or social media, this all started coming in the spotlight with the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini after being detained by Iran's morality police. It's sparked unprecedented protests in the world, even up to the last weekend. I believe you were there last weekend as well, and there are a lot of people that are there to lend a voice. So videos have emerged across social media showing young protesters, often women, demonstrating in defiance and often facing a violent response from the police. So, and when I follow your Instagram account, you are the one person, I have to say, who consistently posts about Mahsa Amini's murders and all the other ones that followed. Can you tell us a little bit why her murder means so much to you, please?
It is a difficult story even to tell. It is heartbreaking for any one of us that we are in the 2022 and we see someone being killed in the when they are in a custody with the morality police because of not having an appropriate hijab. When we're talking about hijab, first of all, I want to make it clear, I'm not a politician person, or I'm not a religious person in a sense that I can really make a statement and people follow me or being against me or something like that. I'm Mahsa. I'm Zara Amini. I'm Mahsa Amini. I'm Kian Pir Falak. I'm Sarina Ismailzadeh. I'm Nikasha Karami. I'm Hanan Kia. I am many hashtags. I could be one of them as well. I might be on the flight PS 752 when Iran shot twice the Ukrainian plane, that it was more than 50 Iranian Canadians as well on that plane. And one of the reasons that I was not at that plane, I can say, thanks to my firing process at that time, that instead of staying in Iran 3 weeks, as always, I stayed 4 weeks. Then we could be somehow here, there, tomorrow, somewhere else. The story of Mahsa reminds every woman in Iran, and should remember to all around the world, all women, that we have to keep our solidarity and keep our dignity in a way. No one allow themselves to kill us just because of my hair, because of my sex, because of my voice, because of my action, and so on. What we are suffering nowadays is some stupid things, really stupid things, you know, and it's hard to believe and it's hard to digest that how this is happening. And the big organizations, please let me name them, UNICEF till now, after a lot of the kids are being killed nowadays on the streets of Iran, Tehran, Isfahan, Shiraz, Sistan, Baluchistan, Kurdistan, Javan Merit, Aze. And if you realize, I started from the big country, the name of the big country, Iran, till these little provinces and villages that they are suffering and they are fighting today, and they are getting genocide. And no one used the hashtag of Mahsa Amini, which is our password, the key of this revolution nowadays. Mahsa could be you, Patricia, could be symbol of like any woman in the world that is suffering. We have to help each other that our voice get heard. We shouldn't pick and choose the country even, or the people, or the hashtag that we are using in our daily life. Since I'm really acting for Mahsa Amini, for the hashtagging her and adding other hashtags that are really important to be considered, a lot of like prisoners in a prison that should be released, the Saint Ronari, and a lot of people was like, I don't have really all the names right now, but they are all, you know, on the internet and you can find it. But the reality is, I'm one person. I have one platform and I can use limited hashtags on each of my stories or posts on my social medias. But we can help each other hands to hands to get this chain goes, you know, and we don't stop it just because, as a matter of fact, UNICEF doesn't help us. UNICEF doesn't want to hear us because we are not under agenda. I can talk hours and hours as a witness and 2009 that we had the same issue, just like if we were manifesting for asking where is my vote after the fraud election that we had at that time. And they just shot another girl. Her name was Nida Sultan. The day after what happened, we scared. Oh, they start killing people. And they said the enemy did it. The same thing that they are saying, like Mahsa Amini's, we didn't kill her, just had a heart attack. She had a previous, like a story. Excuse me. We are enough, like a 43 years of governing to us. We are a list of what you are going to say. We know you. If we're gonna even put it as a best practices, we are trained a lot. We have a lot of like examples, how you are gonna react right now, how you are gonna really manipulating this time, how you wanna shut down us. But this time, people in Iran, this time will end. Enough is enough.
Yes. Yes, I could feel, well, definitely our age. And yes, it's true. It's, I'm 43 actually. So all this started back in 1979 when I was doing some research. Yeah, okay, so I understand. I'm an outsider, right? So there are a lot of non-Iranians out there, okay? And a lot of them, even the non-Iranians, have been lending a voice. I've seen it's not only Iranians that speak about this, mainly Iranians, but there are a lot of others who are lending a voice. But sometimes people, they don't really know what they can do, okay? And it feels like it's happening very far away. It's across an ocean, you know, it doesn't concern them. They're busy with their life, trying to pay their bills, you know, living their life. And this is an Iranian problem. It has nothing to do with them, okay? I know you touched on that a little bit, but if you can talk to that person right now who feels like, well, I can't do anything about this, what would you like to tell them right now, Zara?
The first question, do you have Instagram?
Let's see, the answer is yes.
Someone in your community that they can be helpful, just give us the name. Create the connection between us. We are going to manage that. Or if you can, you know, donate to those community that they are going to a little bit put more, you know, work to do to spread the voice better by their performances, by their, you know, events, gallery, and so on. There is many ways of helping innocent people to save their lives. Saving the lives is the, now since I see my compatriots getting involved with this, I can relate with Ukrainian more and more. I can relate with Black people more and more. Now I see what they were like fighting and they were saying and protesting is like Black Lives Matters. Now I see what is that anger come from and why they want that we join to their group and help them and be their voice, make it their voice louder. And from now on, I open my eyes and my ears to see if there is any minority around the world that I can be 1% with my platform to help them a little bit, their voice get heard. Now I know that you, me, my neighbors, my colleagues, we can help each other. UNICEF, United States, ICSINIC, believe me, we went through a revolution, we went through a war, we went through a lot of ways of communication. And so none of them works when it's not the time, when it's not on their agenda, when it's not beneficial for them. Please don't fool ourselves that these people come to help us. You are the real person to help me. My neighbor, when they heard about Iran, they come and knock my door and ask me, everything is okay with you and your family? This is real one. I have never heard UNICEF said what happened to Kian Pirfalak. Who is he? It was 2 days ago, National Day of Kids. And they had it like a question box on their story, UNICEF. And I'm sure all of Iranians, they did all their really effort to send a message, to put the hashtag on that box. The day after, what day was the for example, feedback of those peace, rainbow, nice stuff, even not rainbow, because rainbow, it was when, if you see in the, see one of the videos of Kian Pirfalak, is the son, 10 years old son, that he was with his family on their car. They were far 200 meters from their place, and the police stopped them. And they said, because there is the people that are manifesting around their place, they have to turn around. But I don't know what happened. When they are turning around, they are shooting them. Then the son and father, they got shot, but the son, unfortunately, lost his life. And he was really great person. Since I saw his mom's Instagram and videos, it looked like he could be like someone. Actually, Kian Pirfalak, why is his story is so touching, and we are desperate that UNICEF doesn't show, because when he was creating a small little, boat for one of the festivals that he wanted to participate, he started his video with, in the name of Rainbow's God. How beautiful, how innocent, how lovely 10 years old kids can talk about God that way. And also, one of the questions in one of his exam that his mom shared it was, who do you think is the most happy person in the world, or lucky, let's say? He said, Elon Musk and me. How powerful this message. It shows that he sees himself, his future from now on, like Elon Musk. And how we can kill many Kians right now in Iran. And how we can kill these, talented people, skilled people. This is hard. That's why I'm saying, like, in Mahsa, Jina, Kian, Nika, it's us. Could be our future. And hands of these people, these innocent people, please save them.
Yes. To be honest, it feels like a horror movie when I see certain scenes, like something that you would see in a movie, like an apocalypse kind of movie, the end of the world. And women have taken to the streets, as we said, and they're burning their hijabs, they're cutting off their hair, they're fighting back. And I'm just wondering, since you've lived there, and I guess you have close ties with the country, what do you think would be required for this fight to end? Like, for women to finally be free after 43 years?
I wish I had an answer or power to answer your question. I wish I could make my dreams true, you know? And my hands are empty, but my heart is big. I'm hoping by spreading love, by having or asking people to help, hands to hand, shoulder to shoulders, we help more people. To me, honestly, I pass the day to really fight for women. We should fight for men too. We are all human beings. When it comes to some sort of like levels, for me, Black, white, Ukrainian, Iraqi, Syrian, Iranian, this and that, Quebecois, Canadian, these are just title, label. But we shouldn't forget about who we are and how much powerful we are. But not individually. We need solidarity together. And we stand for that forever.
You know, I feel the need to say something, because those things, there are a lot of things happening in the world, right? And like there's always something. The world is on fire. It's been on fire forever, as far as I can remember, for the last thousands of years. What I would like to say is, often, and that's a condition of humankind, we don't understand someone's circumstances until we're in the situation ourselves. I'll give you an example. Until I lost my father and my sister, they passed away in the last few, decades or years. And I never understood the death, I didn't understand what that meant. I would say, oh, I'm so sorry, my condolences. I would say the polite thing. It was a nice thing to say, but, I didn't understand what it felt like to lose somebody so close. Now that I've been through it, now I understand. Somebody who's been through a divorce. Oh, I understand. Oh, I've had a child. I understand what it's like to go through childbirth. You understand? So I find often as humans, we get it once we're in it. The same way as you said that now that your country, your people are dying, are suffering, now you understand, oh my goodness, you can go back to all the different ordeals. So that's just one thing that I'm just trying to get people to understand, or maybe to see the impact before they get to that, because technically this could happen it could happen in Canada. A bomb can drop here, anything could happen, and then all of a sudden we're the victims. We're no longer the ones helping wherever possible, we're just the victims. So I don't know I do agree with you with what you said about spreading love. That's what I believe in, just spreading love and kindness and positivity, and trying to put ourselves in other people's shoes. It's a challenge when we don't know. We don't speak the same language, we don't understand the culture. So it's important, as you said, to try to open up our eyes and our ears and our hearts to try to understand other people's circumstances. But
yeah, absolutely is true. When it doesn't come to you, you will never notice it. And the deepest part of emotions that will last forever is the part that you suffer the most. Mm-hmm. When you were happy, it's just a couple of seconds. Mm-hmm. But when you are in a deep, problem, it never ends. Mm-hmm. And this is something that most Canadians, at least when I'm living here, I can see they have never had experience being in a war. How lucky they are. I don't wish even for my enemy to experience it, The post-trauma after the war. And even you see right now, pandemic, what did it happen to all of us around the world? At least we are talking about the one, at least, common crisis. Now we understand each other. We are all at the same page. I was isolations period, you were on that, and you had curfew in your country and this and that, then we understand, we are at the same page. Are you following me? Okay. Then what happened? Now we are paying off the 2 years that our governments, if you were lucky to have your people to overcome of these challenges with our taxes and money and so on. And now we have to pay off those. Inflations is coming across our lives. You know, it's going to affect our mortgage, it's going to affect our taxes, and blah, blah, blah. Then what again happened is you and me. This government is giving me another like a amount of money on top of my salary or some sort of things to overcome up this challenge right now. No, it just happened. I'm sorry. Then at the end, if we don't help each other, if we don't understand the situation, how we are going to overcome these issues? You know, you saw the boundary that they created around us during 2 years. 6 feet, 2 meters. Don't come near me. I'm afraid of you. Wear your mask. Imagine all these mandatory things. How was your feeling the time that they said you cannot see your family for Christmas? Just a little bit, change it in a way that they said wear hijab, mandatory hijab, for not only 2 years, it's more than 43 years. And if you don't do it, they're gonna kill you. How does it sound? How do you feel? Even you don't want to see Christmas anymore because your loved ones was killed either on the plane, when they were traveling their country, their homeland, or like Mahsa, who was visiting Tehran, was traveling from her city to Tehran to a little bit enjoy the last days of the summer before her university starts. Got killed like that. What is this? Does it make sense to you if you are in the pandemic situation and you get killed like that? Okay, I understand the issue. Okay, I have to wear mask, but don't come and shoot me on my head if I don't wear the mask. I prefer to die by COVID rather than to be killed. You understand what I'm trying to say? This is the message. It's really difficult. And I don't know my language, because English is my third language that I know, you know, then sometimes I don't have words to express my anger, my emotions. But this time is not the time to control my emotions. This time is the time of acting. Because we tried a lot, believe me, we tried a lot. And one of the reasons that I want to still continue to learn about communication styles and improve my public speech and so on, just because I know where I come from. They taught me hate. They taught me do this. I don't want that finger be up. I want to be like all of you. I don't want my voice goes up when I want to say, in my opinion, this is not correct. I want to have a freedom of speech. I want to be free to say and to not even my voice get it cut off when I want to say something I believe. This is something that all Iranian nowadays wish for.
Yes, that's beautiful, actually, what you said. do you think that there's any particular role that men can play to help this cause, to help the women? I know it's like a human issue right now, because not only the women are suffering, I'm assuming also brothers, must be suffering to see their sisters suffering, or fathers seeing their, people are dying, right? It's a war going on. Do you think men can do anything particular more that women cannot do?
Honestly, from what I see nowadays on the streets of Iran is happening, chapeau for all of our men as well, the same as women. They are protecting, they are supporting their sisters and mothers, for sure. And how beautiful it is, their sisters, their mothers supporting them. Do something for your sisters, if you can.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the beauty of human being. That's why I said I don't believe to sex, to be honest. Please, you have more than power and so on. If you think you have a better acting on this situation more than me, go for it. But if I can do something from my side, how can I help? It's all about how we can help. To me, the role of me compared to a man, we have one platform, we have a one voice, we have at the end of the day, one vote. Then I think whoever can do something, good. They don't owe anyone. They don't owe their heart at the end of the day, I guess. This is all about how you want to really say to the future, how you really do something on the history of your country and so on. It's all about what I could do and I do. I don't want that I say one day, I wish I could do that. I passed that. That's why I'm here in Canada, to do what I want to do. I don't want to be victim anymore. And I don't want to blame anyone if I cannot get what I want. It's me. It's all about me. I'm learning that. But I want every Iranian also learn and have that opportunity. Whatever you are, I accept you. Whatever religion you have, I'm okay with. Whatever language you want to speak in your city, you're allowed to. Because Iran, without Kurd, without Turk, without Lor, without Bakhtiari, Baluchi, it's not going to be Iran. We are all together. We make Iran as we remember. It's a beautiful country.
Yes. Ooh, if someone is watching us right now and feels discouraged with the world that's on fire right now and doesn't see any light in sight, there's such a increased number of suicide and anxiety and depression. What would you like to tell that person right now, Zara?
Don't lose your hope. After rain, always there is a rainbow. As Kian said, in the name of rainbow. Believe to kids. I'm sure you saw something on rainbow. That's also, we remember during pandemic, they said, it's gonna be okay. I know it's hard today, but it's gonna be okay. Don't lose your hope, because if you end it today, what is gonna happen? You think anyone cares? I'm telling you, people are getting killed because and so on. No one cares. And don't think by killing yourself or whatever, the world is going to learn something. But by standing and doing something and make yourself happy, this is the time that the world is going to learn something from you. Make yourself happy. Make yourself someone who is enjoying every single moments of their life, because that's something that your government doesn't like it. Maybe your community doesn't like it, because if you are be happy, how I sell my medications to you, how I sell my advertisement to you, to get rid of this, to get rid of that, and so on. If you have a normal life, happy with whatever you have, what do you need to make their business up? Think about that. Do something for yourself before they want to sell something, just to not give it to you, that you suffer and they sell it more expensive with your lives.
Right. Thank you, Zara, for sharing all of this. Well, we're coming to the end. I just want to ask maybe 2 more questions. In the best scenario, okay, what would life look like for women in Iran? Like, let's say some magic, something happens, turn of situation, and now we have to start from scratch to build. What would it look like for you?
The slogan of Iranian right now is woman, life, freedom. Zan, zendegi, azadi. Femme, vie, liberté. I think that slogan could have lots of messages. But I think if we want to make it a little bit, I don't know, spiritual, or like it advice or some sort of things, is like, I think if a woman be happy with their life and free to whatever they want to do, they can be behind the successful man. They can have a great children in the world. The world is gonna be full of love and happiness and free of any religious color and racism and so on. Because women, they love their kids, their life, their men unconditionally.
Amen. And what is the next step for you, Zara?
I just got my 40s.
You just got you what, sorry?
I just got my 40th anniversary. Then
it's happy
big
birthday, yes.
challenge for me.
Yes.
Then my mission is just started in new decade, I can say. I achieved some of my dreams. And one of them might be funny, but I just registered finally this year. I was ready 2 years ago, by the way, but because of COVID, I couldn't start learning ski.
Ooh.
It was one of my biggest dreams, to be honest, skiing, you know. And just because in Iran, you know, the mountains was far, and my dad was not, you know, active person to bring me to the mountain by his car and so on during the weekend. They want to sleep for sure. And also, if it was a bus, it was mixed bus, no. And wherever I said at the beginning, then that is something. What I mean by that is just, I know life is short, and I want to make most of my dreams true, that I'm working hard for it, and stop thinking someone is gonna save me or giving me, I don't know, opportunity. I have to gain the opportunity. I have to go get it. But I'm sure opportunity also is in Iran. People can do whatever they want. That's why they do revolution, because they hope they can. Then when I see them, I encourage myself and I say, Zara, you are in a good country with the doors of like an opportunity that I can just open it and go through it. Then I really want to learn more, experience more, and overcome of all my fears that I couldn't overcome when I was younger.
Yes. Well, I wish you that. You're in the same decade as me. I'm 43 now, so 40s, that's when my life started turning for the best, and I realized that there's no sense in looking to the past. The past is gone, but I have control over what I do from today until I die. Whether I die in 2 weeks or in 20 years or 40 years, it doesn't matter. I can control, and I'm living a life with no regrets now. So that's exactly, if you want to go skiing, go ski, Zara. Anything that makes you happy, it's in your power to get it done. And I love your heart. I love how you give yourself to the cause and to help others. And I really, anyway, I pray that you get everything that you work for and that you hope for.
This is the least that I can do, you know, and I really appreciate that you share your platform with me. And I'm happy. Even we were planning to have this discussion earlier, and now we are more than 60 days of that day that we spoke with each other. But right now I can say still a lot of things going on in Iran, and we cannot stop and ignore them. Yeah. And we might save more Kian and more Mahsa from now on. And you are going to make this cause, I'm sure. Thank you, Patricia.
Oh, well, thank you for your trust and for making yourself vulnerable and coming here also. I just wanted to, and yes, you're right, like we could do the hashtags, we can put the flags, we can do all kinds of things, but I just wanted to hear you speak, a real human, about this. And many different people, different artists are expressing their love and their compassion somewhere, and I find just every little action does something, you know. If people do what they can in their capacity, I just thought, why not talk to a lovely lady like yourself about a very important subject. And if someone in the audience would like to follow you or support the cause of the women of Iran or anything, just they would like to follow you, what is the best way to reach you?
I think people can follow me on my Instagram. I think Zara.photograph. Before, if you remember, my message for my followers was every day I was telling them bonjour, good morning, and I wrote it in Farsi, bonjour be shama. But since these things happening and I was mixing with my videos or pictures, nice pictures, you know, like related to the day, to my mood and so on, to make others people happy. But I think it's about 60 days. I couldn't say bonjour or good morning or salam to anyone, just because I'm not happy. I want that people come and ask me why you don't say good morning anymore. You know, it's like, this is something that I heard also, and I got a lot of messages like, why you don't say good morning? I said, you don't see what is going on around the world. It's just like, I think We have to. This is the mission of every one of us nowadays with the social media and the age of technology and so on. We can do something if we really want it. And we should. Enough is enough. We shouldn't pick and choose. We have to be open to make this opportunity for everyone accessible.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Zara. And everything we discussed, all the hashtags, all the things that can be done to help the cause will be in the description under the video. And thank you so much for coming. As I said, is there anything else before we part that you'd like to add, Zara, that you feel hasn't been said yet?
Honestly, I try my best to send a message. If I couldn't, I'm so sorry. But everyone right now with internet and Google, they can get more information as they wish. And I think we just create that opportunity for them to know more about Iran, more about people, and they don't pick and choose and be our voice. Thank you, Patricia, for taking your time. And as always, that I follow you and I see how much you're really woman for the really send the message at the right time, the right people, the right place. I really appreciate that you give me that platform to express myself and think I'm doing something for my people.
Yes, yes, that you are. And thank you. And my dear friend at home, thank you for taking the time to watch this. And I hope you have been as inspired and moved by Zara's presence today as I have been. And I will leave you with this. The power of your voice can change the world. Find it and use it. See you in the next video. Bye.